iced coffee. Hello, it's Tuesday again, and I forgot that I was supposed to stream today. I haven't missed the time, but yeah, it's been a bit of a different day today, and I kind of forgot that it was Tuesday and I had to stream. So usually on Tuesdays I'm at the... Oh, thank you for the follow. Hi. Usually on Tuesdays I'm at the studio, and then I come on after about this time in the evening and give you a catch up of what I've done for the day, show you the work that I've been doing, and then depending on what we said we'd do in the last stream, for this one, catch up with you or recommend you stuff or answer questions or something. So today's been a bit of a different day because I got a message really late last night off my mentor saying that their client had cancelled for the day, so we weren't in the studio today. So normally I would have been in and would have got there, helped set up, and sat with him while he's working on the client for whatever piece they're having done, take notes, do some drawing, clean up after, that kind of thing. But yeah, didn't even get to the studio today, so I was just kind of inside. I was going to go out for a walk, but it's been raining, so I've just been carrying on working on some designs. Yeah, so I'll show you. If you've been watching my other streams, you've already seen the set of designs that I've been working on. If you haven't seen that, and I know the previous streams are not up anymore, but I have sent them all over to my YouTube channel, so you can watch them all there. You can see everything I've been up to, all the designs as they've been happening. Just getting my little folder out just to try and show you quickly in case you don't have time to catch up. So recently I've been asked to do a series of designs for an upcoming flash sheet, and I just come up with Pokemon characters, tarot cards and Art Nouveau kind of mixed together. So I did some designs on tracing paper. If you want to see them, I'll go on one of my previous streams for that on my YouTube channel, or they're on my Instagram as well. Everything's in my information. So I did them on there, and then I got asked to redo one of the designs, which was, let me just find it, this Wheel of Fortune with Evian. It was a bit crowded, so I redid that design to this, which I've now finished there. And then I got asked to take some elements off those designs before I put them all together on a big sheet, and do something a bit different with them. So I took Gengar, and in what would be his shadow, I made his tongue sort of look more stuck up and less flat on the page, and then what would be his shadow is his previous form there. And then I got asked, please could I do 3 simplistic or more simple designs that I was supposed to bring in today, along with my fake skin, but obviously we never made it in, so I'm going to be doing that Friday now. But I'll just show you the designs that I've done. I assume that I'm going to be doing these on the fake skin, that's why he's asked me to bring them in. So it's just a Pokeball with sort of like sat on a rose with some leaves and everything and the petals sticking out. That's the first one. The second one I did is a simple Pikachu's head with, because he's obviously electric, lightning bolt behind him, but his tail as a lightning bolt. And then the last one, I did a version of a tattoo that I've actually got on my back, which looks like a paint swirl. But I did that with Gengar. I've just got a mark on the bottom of the paper. Oh well, I'll cover that up. Which is actually my favourite one. So yeah, he hasn't actually seen these fully yet, so oh, thank you, they look amazing. I really like this one. So I hope if I have to do them, I get to do this one, definitely, with all this like slobber and everything everywhere. I'm not a huge Pokemon fan, but I have enjoyed doing bits of these, although I would like to do something else now. But yeah, so those are the 3 completed designs. And then last week I was talking about shows I've been watching, recommendations for things like that, and I also said that this week I would show you what the fake skin looks like. So I've got it with me. I've got some anyway. I did forget to get the pieces out that I've done previously on fake skin, so I'll try and remember that for next week because I'm not going looking for them now. But this is a piece that I haven't actually used. When I first started learning to tattoo, I started doing stick and poke, which is a single needle, doing it by hand without a machine. And the place where I purchased everything from online sent me this fake skin to practice on, which I don't recommend because it's turned out to be really rubbish. And next week when I find the ones that I did the designs on, I'll show you what happens to the fake skins after a while. So this is one I didn't even bother opening it because I got multiple packets of it just sent through, and I didn't even open this one. But as you can see, it's very thin, very thin indeed. Hopefully you can see that. Very thin. The texture of it feels like it's got talc or some kind of powder on it, and it's not that sort of, I mean, it looks kind of stretchy, but when you see the one I'm going to show you in a minute, this is not stretchy, and it feels really stiff. And after a while, this one actually goes kind of not rock hard, but it goes harder than this. And I found this really difficult to work with because not only did the needle keep going through because it's so thin, but it stained really easily when I was trying to wipe the ink off and all sorts of things. And so I don't really recommend it. I don't know what brand this is, but if you see one and it's a really cheap one and it's really thin, and it looks kind of matte and it's fairly smooth. I don't know if you can see the texture of it. I just put my hand over it and create a crease. You can kind of see. But yeah, it's very thin. I don't recommend it. I mean, I'm not going to say where I got it from. It wasn't Amazon or anything. It was from a proper site that sells supplies. But I mean, if you want to know, I'm not going to sort of like name and shame on a stream, but you know, if you send a message through, I'll tell you so you don't get the same one. So I mean, it even feels like it's left a powdery residue on my fingers. I really don't recommend this one. The one that I do recommend is from this brand, which is called Real Skin, and that's spelled R-E-E-L. Can't really see it very well on there. And this is just a pack that I got with like discounted offcuts and everything, so that's great to practice on. And it just kind of came in a bag and everything. And I'll get a piece out to show you. I'll just get the top piece. With it being offcuts as well, I'll just actually get the top 2 to show you. With it being offcuts, you get defects in it, and it could be like the thickness, it could be air bubbles, things like that. So as you can see, these are just the first 2 pieces, and as you can see, where can I show you there? Can you see there's a different thickness? Because it's offcuts, they're not perfect. But to practice on, you know, initially, if you can't, well, like I couldn't afford the proper sheets that were all pristine and everything, I will get them eventually, but I just thought at the time I couldn't really afford much. They do an offcuts sort of deal, and I got a discount code on top of that, so for me that were great. So yeah, I got this from Real Skin. As you can tell already, the difference between, if I just get the thicker one to show you, because that's more like the average thickness of it. The thin one's just kind of a bit odd in the set, but this is the general thickness compared to the one I got originally. I don't know if you can see. It's a lot thicker. You tend to get thicker than this as well with the proper sheets, but as you can see, the flexibility of them both, this one, it's a lot more squishier. You can screw it up. This one, can you see? This is a lot better, more flexible. This one, a lot stiffer. Yeah, there is a massive difference. The texture of the one that I don't recommend, it's quite thick. It's almost like, what's it like? It's almost like thick paper that's supposed to be like skin, whereas this actually feels like, I don't know if I've got one to hand, but do you know that you get them kids' toys that are like squishy sort of silicone stuff? Someone just looking at me through the window. Yes, I'm on a stream. Hello. Right, yeah. So this feels more like them squishy toys that kids get. You know, that's like silicone and everything. That feels more like that, like a latexy, silicone-y kind of feel. This is more like a thick kind of paper with a weird powdery coating on it that's kind of flexible and doesn't crumple. But yeah, so you can see the difference. And with the first one, it doesn't really, if I do it closer, it doesn't really stretch. It actually makes that weird noise. This one actually sounds disgusting. So if you don't mind, this is the noise of it when you shake it. It sounds disgusting, but and as you can see, it's a lot more stretchier. But with it being an offcut, like I said, you get defects. So the textures, you can see, you'll get defects like this. With the perfect sheets, they'll be perfect, so they'll be fine. Hello. Yeah, so, and they actually have two different sides. They have a shiny side with theirs and a matte side. And I haven't used it in so long, so I will have to double check. But if you go on the website, they tell you. I believe the shiny side is for more line practice, because it'll actually show the ink a bit clearer. And I believe the matte side is more for like colour shading and that, because it's really weird when you tattoo with these, because I have actually tattooed on skin as well, and some others, but yeah, when I did with these, with the fake skin, how you get the ink is in your skin, you see how dark even that one is from being a few years old. When you do it, I'll show you next week when I get the pieces together. In fact, I've got an older piece here I could probably show you with, but when you tattoo in fake skin, especially better quality like this, see how stretchy it is? It kind of looks like the ink is frosted. It's really weird. So for line work, the shiny side will show it a bit clearer, and then the kind of more matte side it'll kind of look frosted, but it still works really well. These can stain as well with the stencil and with ink, but there are various ways to get it off, and they last a lot better, and yeah, just a lot better quality, a lot better texture and feel. If you look up close to it, it's very difficult to show on camera, but it is almost skin texture, apart from the defects like that. It's almost like a skin texture. So yeah, I recommend that. They do loads of other products as well. They do 3D things like feet, hands, that kind of stuff. They always have offers on. I believe they're a small company, so you can actually get in touch with them and have a chat with them. They're really friendly and nice company. I will say though, I have noticed any fake skin that I've used, it doesn't really stand the test of time, especially with flexibility. So the one I showed you at first, this one, the pieces of work that I did on it, obviously it stained really badly, but this is quite stiff as it is, and it's gone stiffer over time. I don't know where it is. I keep looking down there, but I will find them for next week. I just completely forgot today. And this one, it kind of ages worse in a way. You're not meant to keep them forever though, but some people like to do the work on them, like I'll be doing if I do some really nice pieces, and I'll be framing it. But obviously if you're framing it to have on display in your studio or something, then you won't be sort of like, you know, flexing it or anything. It should be alright, but I have no idea how long for. But the pieces that I've had just loose, they have not lasted very well, and I don't mind too much because it's been a few years. Like I said, I would frame something properly, but when I was first beginning to do tattoos, I was using stick and poke. So I started practicing on a piece to do lines and to do shading, and I actually found one of the pieces here to show you how dull the inks can look on the matte side, and what a used piece looks like. I actually went to stretch it and it actually ripped. But this is quite a few years old now, so yeah, I wouldn't recommend, and this is the real skin one, the better quality. I wouldn't recommend keeping them forever. And if there's a piece you like, if you're learning, you're an apprentice or anything like that, probably do what I'm going to do and frame the pieces you like. Don't keep messing with them, because it does degrade over time. So yeah, actually I was practicing, I'm trying to show you because it's ripped now. I was trying to practice the lines that I did by hand before I got my machine, and where one of the lines has sort of been, I tried to stretch it, and it's just kind of ripped. But I can kind of show you some of the lines there. So on the shiny side, I did do a piece here, very small. You can see that the colour shows up a lot clearer. The black looks a lot darker, and then the same black on the matte side can look, it's kind of dark here, but it kind of looks slightly frosted. So that's what I mean by that. And in terms of blending colour, see how they look kind of frosted on there? It is good for practicing with, it's one of the best ones, but yeah, it does degrade over time. And as you can see here, this is where I've had it was folded. I'd put it in a box and it had folded, so when I've unfolded it, as you can tell, there's a split right here. So if I were to pull that enough, that would actually rip. So I do recommend if you're an apprentice to use real skin. There is another brand I haven't bought from that is similar, and I believe they're called either Pound of Flesh or A Pound of Flesh, and they seem to do some other sort of, well, they do similar things like sheets and 3D sort of pieces like hands and feet and everything, but they do other things like little dolls or skull shapes and things that you can practice on. So they're a bit more creative with the 3D shapes that you can tattoo on. But I really like the brand Real Skin, so I've been using them, and I will use them for a while. I may get some pieces from other companies later on to do as display pieces, but again, judging how these have aged, if I do get the 3D pieces like the hands and the feet or a skull or something to do tattoos on, I will probably just either put them in a little case, like a little glass case, so they can't be moved and get dust on them, because these actually attract bits of dirt and that, just like the kids' toys. They do attract dirt if they're left out. Things like hairs and fluff will stick to them. So either put them in a case or some kind of protective cover or something, and then just kind of put them up on display and leave them. I wouldn't probably go with the whole moving them around for people to see. You can see there on the shiny side where I've blended some greens together that I was testing out. It's always brighter on this side, duller on the matte side, but yeah, that's the fake skin. I would definitely recommend getting some. It's really good to practice with, and just like you get the defects there, that actually might be useful in a way, because I did see a company, I'm not sure if it's Pound of Flesh, I will try and remember the company for next time, but there is a company that specialises in things like fake skin for cosmetic procedures, because this is the same kind of stuff that when piercers are practicing and they have the sort of like the lips or the noses or the ears, the little silicone ones and everything to practice piercing on, this is the same stuff, it's just thinner. But there is a company that does sheets and pieces like that have bumps on them like scars, so that would be really good to practice potentially doing a design that would cover the bumps of a scar. So yeah, really good, recommend doing that. And yeah, I mean, I did have a few questions through, but like I said, as I was a bit caught up today with doing artwork and everything, I completely forgot that I was due to come on. So I know, look, at a bit of a mess and not super organised, but yeah, that's what I wanted to show you. I did actually, with my fake skin, I found some of my old stencil paper. Now, most places have, I didn't say I'd show you this, but I'm going to anyway. Most places have a printer to print their stencils out in the studio. You can buy them, they're fairly expensive. There's a few types. There's one where it's a thermal printer, so a bit like you get your receipts when you've been to the shop, the supermarket or something, and that's just heat printed. It's heat reactive paper. So your thermal printer will effectively print your design onto your stencil paper using heat reactive paper, and then that will sort of like push the carbon, which is what makes the stencil up, onto the backing paper that then you use as your stencil. And then the other type is kind of like a normal printer, but instead of ink you have stencil fluid. So you have like purpley carbon fluid in where, you know, the cartridge for the ink would be. But there is also stencil papers that are preloaded that are specifically for hand drawing. So I'm just going to get one off here. This is called Spirit paper. There you go, Spirit paper, and this is the one for hand drawing, and I've got to be really careful because this will go everywhere and it does stain. If you've ever had a tattoo, you will know. So you get multiple sheets together. This is one piece. You get multiple sheets together, as you can kind of see there. And if I try and get it apart for you, you can see that it is just thick. All that is carbon. Essentially, it's just been printed and cut like the printer I just told you with instead of ink it's liquid carbon. That has just been printed on a sheet. So if I carefully peel that off, really carefully not to get it everywhere. So now you've split that one sheet. What they do is to package them, they put two sheets together. So you've got your one sheet now. Now this is one piece that you would use. So you use half of one piece out of the pack, which is two pieces of the stencil paper together. So this is what you want, and then what you would do is, I'll just show you with the back of this design because I don't really want to move too much with this everywhere. So what you would essentially do is you would have this side down on your table, the back, the white bit. You would have the dark side facing up if you're hand drawing. Then what you would do is you would put a sheet of tracing paper in between, which is what I used anyway. You can get very thin paper that you can use as well, like say printer paper, but I used tracing paper. And then you would put, you would put over, so you'd have your tracing paper, and then over your tracing paper you would put your design. And then what I would sometimes do is, so I didn't ruin the design, is I would put some paper over my design, or I'd trace my design and then I'd put that straight as the tracing paper straight on here. Either way, you'd layer them up over your carbon, and then you would basically trace your design or go over your already traced design, and then that, and just put that down because I don't want to ruin it, that would essentially sort of make a mark on the carbon. So what I could do is I can actually get a bit of paper now. Tell you what, if I just rip some paper, I did have some tracing paper loose, but I'm not sure where I put it. See if I've got a bit of spare card or something. Maybe not that. I've got a bit of card here. This will work. It's off a package. So if I just sort of do a basic shape on the back of this, with this side, because it's just off that, with this side pressed onto the carbon paper like that, then you can see that it will print off. So you have to press fairly hard as well. So if I just do that now, I know you can't see, but I would recommend, if you can get it, a ballpoint pen, which I don't know where mine just went, so I'll look over here. I've got a ballpoint, this will do. So I'm just going to draw, oh, what should I just draw? Really, really simple and basic. I'll just do the corner so I don't get it everywhere. I've got to be careful because I've got a canvas in front of me that's drying that I primed not too long ago, because I want to do an art piece, which I'll tell you about in a minute. But if I just draw a, you know, I'll just do a weird squiggle, it doesn't really matter. as long as it's pressed down hard enough. So I won't peel it off yet. So I've just done, you can't see it properly, but you might be able to see that sort of indent there because it's on card. I've just done just a random squiggle, it's not even a picture. So I've got that placed straight onto the carbon. So very carefully peel it off, and you'll see where it's taken the carbon off the paper there. So that, where it's taken it off, will be on the back of this. There you go. And that is actually now your stencil. Obviously you wouldn't do it on cardboard. You would do it on, you know, like I said, thin printer paper, if you're doing it by hand, or tracing paper. I might actually show you how to do this at some point if you're interested, how you would put a stencil on the skin. If you'd like to see that in an upcoming stream. Obviously I don't have the printer, but I can show you this way then, and how to prepare the skin. Let me know, I'll do that as well. But yeah, so that essentially on there is carbon off that paper. So when you have primed your skin, and then you would put it on your skin, I'll show you how to do it like I said, and then that you would let sort of like sit on for a minute, then you would peel it off, and then it would leave this carbon on your skin. Then you would let that dry for about 10 minutes. Maybe pat with a paper towel any excess off, because when you do them by hand you get way too much carbon on your stencil. So there are various tips that you can use to fix that before it goes in the skin, because it can bleed once it's on the skin or the fake skin that you'll be practicing on, because that's what happened to me. But I'll go through that in a future stream where I show you actually how to apply stencils. But yeah, that's essentially, if it was, you know, on the right paper and everything, and your skin was prepped, you could create a stencil. So I mean, I do actually have some stencil fluid here. This is not how you would normally do it. I'm just going to see if I can actually get some off, if I can get some off this for you. So normally you would prep your skin, and I don't like putting this stuff on my skin, the carbon, because it doesn't really come off very well. But I'm just, I will show you properly in sanitary and everything. Don't do it this way. I'm just showing you for the purpose of showing you that the carbon transfers, that's it. But you would have like your stencil fluid on there, rubbed into the skin, obviously sanitary, gloves, everything, and then you would put your stencil on there, press it on. It will, the stencil fluid is like tacky, so it will pick up the carbon, and here we go. That is now on the skin. And the good thing with doing it by hand is also that because it leaves so much, because it picks up so much, you can, when you're practicing with fake skin, you can, as long as it doesn't bleed, you can actually reuse this maybe 2-3 times. But yeah, that's now on there. If I let that dry for 10 minutes, it's gonna be kind of awkward to get off, but I'll get that off before work tomorrow, that's fine. Just try not to get it on my top now. But yeah, I can go through and I can show you how to do this in a future stream. But that's something I also found. I thought I wanted to share with you along with the fake skin. And before I go, I will say again, any questions or whatever, I've had a few come through, but I'm going to put them all together and do maybe next week answering a few questions that I've had all in one go. And then I will find the pieces of fake skin that I've actually done old artwork practiced on, and show you what happens when you put the stencil on correct, not correctly, how the fake skin takes the ink, rather than just tell you about it. I can show you next week. So that's what I'm going to do next week. But anything you want to see upcoming, like how to properly prepare the skin for a stencil, how you would even draw the stencil, anything like that, any questions or anything, please keep sending them in, and I will definitely get round to doing it in a future stream. So before I go, I'm just going to sneakily show you a few ideas that I had. I know I said I'm sick of doing Pokemon stuff at the minute, but we had a few ideas earlier at home. So like one of them is obviously spooky themed, quick little flash ideas, because it's going to be coming up to Halloween soon. So one of them was was peekaboos. Most of these are Pikachu things that we were laughing about, but peekaboos. So it's like a little really rough sketches here that I need to draw them up properly. But when I do ideas, I just do a really quick few seconds rough shape of the sketch, and then I'll go through and actually draw them. So peekaboos, little Pikachu ghost, you know, the sheet draped over him, ears sticking out, that kind of thing. So that'll be cute if I draw that up. And then the other ones were food based. So instead of Bulbasaur, it's Bulba Pie. So a little pie shape with the eyes and everything, and the little bulb is the decoration on top. Magikarp soup, kind of self-explanatory. A bowl of soup with Magikarp in it. And then the other one I really liked was Pika noodles, which is, if you imagine a bowl of spaghetti noodle kind of things, and then sort of on the noodles there are bits of Pikachu, where, you know, like his tail sticking out, or you see an eye here in the noodles and stuff like that. So that was just some silly fun ideas that I was thinking of drawing up. I think I've got stencil on my top now. So yeah, don't wear a light top if you go for a tattoo. Wear dark clothing. Yeah, and then I'm going to be carrying on with my bioluminescent ideas. And I don't actually have a sketch to show you, but I can't pick it up, I've been priming my canvas, which is a hexagon shape canvas about this big, quite big, and the idea for it was I want to do some flowers on it in a similar style to the neo-traditional kind of style that I've got on my shoulders. So it's going to be a chrysanthemum, which is the same as what this is. There you can kind of see. But it's, instead of in blues, it's going to be in sort of orangey pinks, and then the background's going to be in blues. So they're complementary colours, which actually I've just remembered I've got something to show you for that. I will show you this in a sec when I've told you my idea. So yeah, I'm going to do that, and the background's going to be sort of cool, and the flower's going to be warm colours pretty much. And then I'm going to do them my tattoos have a thick black outline. It's going to be the same. It's going to be done like a tattoo on the canvas in a way, but obviously not with a machine, just painted, but in that style. And I've got some, let me show you quickly, I'll move the papers out of the way. I've got some of these gold gilding flakes. It's not gold leaf, not properly anyway. It's like another version, and this is the gold one. I'm not going to get it out because last time I tried to do that it went everywhere. So this is like gold leaf. So what you would do with this is you would put like a tacky adhesive on the surface and then gently tap this on like you would when you were gold leafing something, and then use another brush to sweep the excess off. I've got this one, and then somewhere I've got the same kind of thing, but it has like a metallic green, has like a copper colour in, and a kind of pewter colour, like as a mixture. So I may use that, but I was thinking to use this as little highlight bits. And I've also got tons of crystals, actual real crystals. I used to make crystal grids, I used to sell them. I don't know if I think I've got old pictures of them on my Instagram, but I was thinking of redoing them and selling them again because I really enjoyed it. But an updated version, so now I can add tattoo designs into them and things like that, rather than just a watercolour background. Actually have some really nice design work behind them as well. So I was going to get some crystals, tiny little crystals I've got. They're all in the drawers behind me, so I would have to move everything and organise it. It's a bit of a mess, but I've got loads of little crystals. And then what I was going to do is I used to stick my crystals onto my crystal grids, and then the glue that I got changed formula, and I noticed that they started to yellow over time. The glue started to yellow over time, So now I'm kind of against gluing them, because unless I find a formula that doesn't yellow over time, like the original one did, I don't really want that to happen. So now I'm just going to be stitching them through the paper to hold them in place with the clear thread. So I'm going to be adding those as finishing touches on my canvas. I'll show you as I create it where I'm up to the different stages. I will also put pictures of it on my Instagram, so you can go and look there as well for it. And I originally wanted to do it to have on my wall at home, because I'm in my room at the minute and the back wall is black. I just have a black and white room, so I thought it'd be really nice. But then I thought, well, soon in the next few months, because I had a conversation with my mentor, and apprenticeships generally are at least a year long. Like I said, I'll answer some of these in some of the questions in next week's stream, but really quick, it's generally at least a year long for your apprenticeship. Mine seems like obviously it is going to be quite lengthy as well, but it seems like I'll be progressing in the next couple of months a little bit quicker. Probably because I've already done bits before, to be honest, but I do pick things up pretty quickly as well. So I was thinking, well, in the next few months, he said that, well, obviously I'm going to be doing fake skin in the studio pretty soon, but in the next few months before Christmas, he said that I'm going to be working on real skin, not that real skin as the brand, actual human flesh, you know, real skin, real people. But they won't be paying customers, it will just be probably some free tattoos, so I can get my portfolio up. Maybe get a potential clientele, and yeah, just sort of get proper practice on real people regularly in a studio environment, and that should be before Christmas. And then he said that he hopes for me to actually start being able to charge into the new year, so I can actually start being a proper tattooist, charging people and building up clientele, and actually then earn when I go to the studio rather than going in for free all the time, which I do now. That'll be nice, but then that means I can also start booking more people in, hopefully as time goes by, to fill the days up that I'm already at the studio, and then hopefully add, you know, expand on that and add more days during the week and cut down on my day job, and then eventually when it's stable enough switch over. So yeah, I was thinking, because that might be coming up soonish, the studio's quite full, we've had a lot more people join, so I'm hoping that instead of sharing a studio station, which is your personal space, it's where, you know, your tattoo table, chair, bed, whatever you want to call it, your sort of drawers or storage area are for your equipment and inks and everything. And you know, you usually personalize it, so you'll have some shelves or wall space, or depending on the studio, you might just have, you know, like a table or something. You'll have something where you can personalize it to a degree with objects or artwork, or you know, that kind of thing. So I was thinking, if I actually got my own space rather than share, because some people are sharing at the minute, I wouldn't feel comfortable putting a lot of my personal things in unless you agreed, you know, you have this section, I have this section, or this shelf or this shelf. If I got my own space completely and could personalise it, I may actually put this canvas on the back wall as part of my decorative thing, because it has a few things that I like on it, that, you know, colours, crystals, stuff like that, and then sort of some pieces from around the home, maybe some things like some figures or something like that. So yeah, I'll show you that when it's finished and as it progresses. But to go with that, for the complementary colours, I actually picked up one of these. Now, I know the colour wheel already, being an artist, but I thought that I would get this just to make it a bit quicker and easier when I'm coming up with the designs. And I thought I'd show you. So this, you can just get this online, anywhere pretty much. You just search for a colour wheel, and this particular one has all the colours on the outside. And then what it does is, on this one, is it has an inner wheel. So if I put my fingers behind it, you can see. And then the first slot here is if you were to add red, Then if you add yellow, but not red and then yellow, like if you were, for example, if you were to go to, what colour should we do? Let's do yellow. So if you were, your primary colour that you wanted was yellow. If you were to add red to this primary colour yellow, that's the shade that this yellow would go. Instead, not additionally, instead if you were to add yellow to it, depending on the shade of yellow, it'd just be sort of like a brighter yellow, not much different. If you were to add blue to it, to this yellow instead, that's the kind of shade you'd get, green. If you just to add white to the yellow, you can see it going down, it highlights, oh, this is, you know, it goes like paler, you know. And if you were to add black, you know, it'd go like this, and it does that for all the colours going around the front. It also has terminology on it for things like telling you what primary colours are, secondary colours, tertiary, and so on. And then it tells you the difference between hue, tint, tone, shade, etc. So if you want me to go through every single thing on this and go through colour wheel, colour theory with you on another stream, I'm quite happy to do that. Please let me know. I do the streams based on your suggestions, what you want to see. Such a handy little wheel to have. Yeah, it is actually. I never bothered with one before, to be fair. There is actually more on the back that I'm about to show you. But yeah, I never bothered with one before, but I thought, you know, with me doing more designs, the idea of it is to be quicker, more efficient, easier, and just to know, like, say if you're doing a design and you want, you know, like this canvas I'm doing, you know, what would be the opposite colour? So for example, you know, if I was to do my background in blue, the opposite colour to that is orange. So then I know, oh, the flower could be orange, and then they would look good together, you know, colour theory wise. So yeah, but this is, the front is handy because it tells you about your grayscale there. It tells you obviously here as well, going into it and continuing. And then it obviously shows you a load of colours, and then what would happen if you were to add any of these colours on the inner wheel to whichever colour you've got at the top, just as a quick guide for, you know, a shade or a tone or whatever. And then on the back of it here you have the same colours again, but if you notice that they go down. So this sort of range of colours, if you were to have this green and then you mix these shades together, that's called monochromatic. So that just basically means you've got one primary colour and you've mixed it with a grey, a white or a black, you know, different ones. Like one is the primary colour, one's mixed with the primary colour with grey, one's a primary colour mixed with white, one's a primary colour mixed with black, and then that'll give you like different tones and tints and things. Like I said, on the front the terminology's there. And then that together, if you were to just use those colours, is called monochromatic. Mono, one, chroma, colour, intensity. So just means that you're basically doing almost like if you imagine grayscale but with colour, essentially. That's monochromatic, one colour in various tints, tones, shades, and nothing else. So it kind of shows you that. It has a terminology for all this on the back as well. And if you notice, it's got this middle section here. So if I point it to, it's pointed at the red. This middle section tells you about things like complementary colours. So if you just had a red and you wanted to just pair it with one other colour that would complement it, you just go straight down. That would be green. If you want to do it in like 3 that complement each other, you would go and follow this inner white triangle, so it would be red, and then there they've named that one blue green, and then this one, which would be yellow green, because obviously red, blue, green. So you'd have the opposite, and then sort of like the primary colour sort of variant of it. And then it does the same for if you want 4 that go together, and then just like various versions of that. So that's the back. It's pretty handy. I would definitely recommend it. I'm not sure what brand this is, but like if it shows you on there as well, really, really close. So you've got your primary, you've got your tint, your tone, and your shade. So a tint is I think it's when you just add the white. The tone is when you add the grey, like you would have toned paper to draw on and that. And then the shade is when you add the black. Yeah, that's right. I get mixed up sometimes myself. But yeah, like if you go on the front here, so the hue is just another name. It just says another name for a colour. Tint is whatever colour plus white. Tone, same, whatever colour plus grey. Shade, whatever colour plus black. And then so on. So yeah, I recommend this is really, really good. Handy if you don't know anything about colour theory. This is just handy to have with you at home, wherever you do your drawing, just to give you an idea of what colours complement each other, what are opposites, what kind of outcome you will get by adding certain things together. Yeah, it's really handy, and like I said, the terminology is on there as well, so if you're not sure, you can just double check. I'm glad I got one now. It's going to make designing real quick. Just spin the wheel. Alright, these three will go together nicely. I can just use those kind of colours in a design. Don't even really have to think about it. So yeah, that's quite good. So according to that, if I want a sort of turquoisey, bluey green background, right, so if we go for the blue-green for my canvas, then if I wanted an opposite colour to that, then it says I should use red-orange, which would be for the flowers. If I wanted to do three colours together, then the blue-green background, then I would use red and also orange in my flowers, which is kind of what I want to do. I want to kind of add some pinks in there as well. But yeah, pretty much you would obviously get the pink as a tint, because you would be adding, there it is, you would be adding the white to it, so it still falls within that three. So yeah, it just shows you that it would work, and what wouldn't work as well. So yeah, that's pretty much it, I think, for today. Just gonna have a bit more of my iced coffee, because it's really warm still. I mean, it's been raining, but I've got all the windows shut, so it's not as noisy, so it's kind of a bit warm now. So yeah, that's it for today. If you've enjoyed it, let me know. Thank you for everyone that's been watching, and anyone that watches this back or goes to my YouTube, where I will upload it to save for you to go back and check if you missed anything or wanted to note anything down, or if I answered your question and you know you just wanted to check some up. And if you also follow me on Instagram as well, thank you. Yeah, as I said, I've got some questions that I'm going to be answering next week. I will show you the bits on fake skin where I actually did some practice work on then as well, and obviously update you for what I've done between now and the 2 times in the studio next week. Yeah, any more questions that you've got, please keep sending them through, and if you've got any suggestions as well of something that you want to see, like how to properly apply a stencil. As you can see, that is dried now, apart from the bit I've just got on my top, that's not really going anywhere. So yeah, if you've got any suggestions on anything that you want me to see, this is a series that I'm doing while I'm an apprentice, just to share with you what it's like to be an apprentice, what we get up to, anything I learned to pass on, because honestly, when I first started teaching myself, I didn't know what I needed to know, obviously, and I found it really difficult. And I'm 37 now, and a lot of people tend to do apprenticeships when they're really young, sort of like 18 or so on, and as you get older, you know, for me personally, I felt like I was never going to get here, so I really wanted to do it, so I kind of went the wrong route really and started teaching myself. But it's not really the wrong route, because there are a lot of really well-known and successful self-taught artists, but really you don't get the full experience of the studio side of it, especially if you want to run as a business, because you'll be self-employed, so it is better to have an apprenticeship. But yeah, it's just a series that I'm doing where I'm just sharing all that with you, answering questions, trying to help you out the way that I would want to have been helped out, and a kind of realistic resource, someone to talk to that would have helped me at the beginning. So, you know, it will help you as well, or I'll try and help you anyway. So yeah, next week I will share those things with you, and yeah, and answer quite a few questions that I've had. so that'll be interesting. So yeah, I'm gonna go and have some tea now and play on a game and chill out because I've been designing all day. So thank you for watching and following and commenting. It's been really nice to see you all, and hope to see you next week. It was a great stream. Enjoy the rest of your day. Oh, you too, and hopefully see you next week as well. Okay, enjoy your evening, everyone. Bye.